The House and Senate versions of the Farm Bill include provisions that will help farmers fight the climate crisis, like support for energy efficiency projects and the development of biofuels. As 27 Storm Track meteorologist Dana Fulton shows us, many farmers are closely tracking our changing climate.
The latest draft of the Farm Bill includes several incentives aimed at supporting farmers, especially dairy farmers, to adapt their practices for climate resilience and mitigation. The dairy industry finds itself on the front lines of the climate change conversation. Major concerns like rising temperatures and changing precipitation patterns directly impact their operations. To understand the impact, I spoke with Meredith Niles, an associate professor at the University of Vermont, who recently surveyed farmers about how they are thinking and acting on climate change.
They're facing a lot of challenges, especially with changing temperatures, water availability. And the thing that I found really striking was that dairy farmers were overwhelmingly most concerned about animal welfare as it relates to climate change.
920 farmers responded to the survey, roughly 1 out of every 30 U.S. dairy farmers, and the largest response came from our region. The survey revealed a surprising degree of climate awareness and interest in proactive strategies for farmers.
We found that their rates of climate change belief are just as high, if not higher, than the U.S. population. Over 80% of U.S. dairy farmers acknowledging the challenge of climate change. Interestingly, we also found a huge percentage already doing things for climate mitigation and adaptation. Over 90% of U.S. dairy farmers implementing strategies already to try to reduce their environmental footprint or to adapt to changing climate.
Many of these strategies, often voluntary and incentive-based, are funded by Farm Bill programs. Nearly all surveyed farmers have adopted at least one climate-focused practice already, primarily composting manure. Other practices, such as rotational grazing, diversifying pasture crops, and using indoor housing to reduce heat and cold stress, are also growing in popularity.
However, the survey showed that farmers still face hurdles such as high initial costs, ongoing maintenance, and a lack of technical information. And when asked to rank the most important factor when adopting new practices, cow welfare came at the top of the list, followed by farm profitability, milk production, and ensuring viable farm operations for the future. Regionally, concerns vary, with farmers here most worried about longer dry periods and drought, increased heavy precipitation events, and increased pests or diseases, issues that directly affect both yield and livestock. 82% of the surveyed farmers expressed openness to participating in climate programs that pay farmers to reduce emissions. But implementing these practices successfully requires access to information and adequate funding. For Capital City Sunday, I'm Dana Fulton.